whole life here in Kansas City, and I've got to say there isn't a better way to see this great city than in a seat like this one. Hi, I'm Emily Elward, and over the course of my life, I've had a lot of thrilling adventures. But today, you have a front row seat on an unprecedented journey in this helicopter to see something you won't forget. Right now, we're inbound to Clinton, Missouri, which is just to the southeast of Kansas City. And really, this is where our story begins, because this is no ordinary helicopter. In fact, right now, we're inside a flying intensive care unit, and it's here where a bold mix of emergency medicine, technology, and the passionate crews on board work every day with people fighting to survive. And if you live within 150 miles of Kansas City, she belongs to you and your community, and her name is LifeFlight Eagle.
Clear!
LifeFlight Eagle, Steve.
Hi, Steve, it's Carter.
Eagle 2, seat flag. Eagle base to 2.
Go ahead.
Eagle 1. Okay, this is a motor vehicle crash. They're still extricating the patient. The trauma centers are Research, Luke's, and Truman. Copy, you're responding. Eagle 2.
Here we go, sir. We're getting ready to take off.
We've just landed here at the Golden Valley Memorial Hospital in Clinton. Inside, there's a critically ill patient, but back in Kansas City at St. Joe's, they're assembling an emergency cardiovascular team. But it's our team with LifeFlight Eagle that will eventually bridge the gap in what may be a life-saving intervention. Ironically, it was on this very spot in 1978 that one of the founding members of Kansas City's first air ambulance, Sister Patricia Lorenz, recalls the first life touched.
Shortly after it was here, and I don't remember the exact day, but it was before we were in service. They were in Clinton, Missouri at Golden Valley Hospital giving a demonstration, and there was a motorcycle auto head-on collision, and one of the persons involved in that was critically injured, and LifeFlight flew him back to Kansas City for emergency surgery. He lost a leg, but he's still with us today. Probably as a result of that, very likely would not have survived otherwise. So that was a very dramatic beginning, but I think it reinforced in many of our minds, you know, look what this could do before we even planned on doing it, and how much help that could be. And so that was kind of the tenor of discussion every time we'd have it, balancing saving lives of people that might not otherwise make it.
The Bell 407 is a state-of-the-art jet turbine helicopter capable of speeds of 150 miles an hour. The current model makes up the fleet for the LifeFlight Eagle, and it shares its roots with an earlier model, the Bell 47, which gave birth to the aeromedical concept. In fact, the first air ambulance was used during the Korean War to help transport over 20,000 wounded soldiers. The lesson learned was that speed to specialized trauma centers saved lives. The U.S. military then took it a step further in the 1960s during the Vietnam conflict with the introduction of more advanced medical care providers on the battlefield, coupled with rapid helicopter transport in Bell Hueys. It was a plan that simply worked, and the mortality rates of our soldiers dropped dramatically. LifeFlight Eagle pilot Bob Forbes knows that it worked because he was one of those daring pilots that risked everything to try and help develop a system of care that would eventually become known as the birth of the modern-day aeromedical service.
We got to do a lot of different missions, but medevac was probably about 50% of our mission. Our primary mission was to get the soldier off the battlefield and back to someplace where he could be treated. And most of the time we were the only person out there. Most of the time was a medic, and sometimes we were going to get the medic. Felt like we were really doing something over there. I know I talked to a lot of Vietnam veterans that kind of wondered, you know, what was accomplished. And I can say that I saw a lot of things accomplished there, and was directly involved with helping to, you know, save people's lives. You know, I guess I was there at the beginning, and there's probably not any way to determine, you know, the amount of casualties that we would have had if we hadn't been able to get people to some sort of advanced care.
In Vietnam alone, over 800,000 patients were airlifted to definitive care. Countless lives were saved, and the road was paved for the first civilian rotor wing air ambulance program in the United States. Shortly thereafter, in 1978, St. Joseph's Health Center developed the country's 5th civilian community-based air ambulance service, known today as LifeFlight Eagle. With over 35,000 patients transported, LifeFlight Eagle has earned a reputation as Kansas City's most experienced critical care flight team, transporting critically ill or injured patients from outlying hospitals to virtually inaccessible places, all the while providing complex medical interventions to quickly deliver patients to specialty medical resources not often found in smaller communities.
The mission is really community service. I think oftentimes we look at LifeFlight Eagle or a helicopter program and we say, well, the mission is to transport patients. I think that's part of it. When you look at our organization, you look at a group of people who have a passion towards saving lives and a tremendous amount of compassion as it relates to how they've affected lives. You've got to look at how many lives were changed, many more than 35,000. And this organization is committed to and dedicated to what else has occurred. You watch a nurse and a flight medic come back from a flight, and it's not as much as what life they've impacted, but they have a broader view of understanding the lives that have possibly been changed by what just has occurred. That's unique, that's different, and that's LifeFlight Eagle.
We're bringing expertise, we're bringing speed, the critical care, the continuation of care. We're bringing hope to that family more than anything else. We're bringing hope that our expertise, our speed, our crews will be able to make the difference, to at least keep that patient alive till they can get to the specialty hospital and to the specialty physicians that need to take care of that patient. So I think that we bring hope, and I think that's one of the main things.
It's easy to see how this dedicated team has affected so many lives across Kansas City, but somehow it means even more when you meet people like Howard Cupp. He passed through these doors not so long ago, complaining of chest pains, convinced it was nothing, only to find his life hanging in the balance.
Good morning, Jessica. How are you?
Good. That's my friend Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea. I'm Howard. I am pastor of the Christian Church of Clinton, have been for 15 and a half years now. Hello, Fred.
Hi, Howard Cupp.
How are you this morning?
I'm just fine.
They're a very patient congregation. They put up with me. Good morning, Ida.
Oh, your hands are cold.
It's nerves. It's nerves because of my vocation as much as anything and my longevity here in Clinton. Yes, there are lots of folks who see a walking miracle whenever they see me.
Celebrity
Hello.
up there under the lights, weren't you?
Well, something like that. Thanksgiving Sunday back in 1998, when after fiddling around with chest pains for most of the day, I went back to the emergency room. They determined I was having a heart attack. After giving me the clotbuster drug, they called LifeFlight Eagle to come down and pick me up. And we landed, got there without incident. When the cardiologist came in after they got me situated in the coronary unit, the intensive care unit, he said, "I'm glad to see that you're still with us." And I said, "I'm glad for that too." And he said, "No, Howard, I'm serious. You started crashing at Golden Valley and I was with them on the phone, and I didn't expect you to survive the flight up here." Well, thanks to the grace of God and the work of the attendants, I survived, obviously, and am in good health. As a patient and as an observer, there are times when those moments of transport are absolutely critical, and the fact that they are highly trained personnel is also critical. There ought to be a joke about three farmers standing in the hallway. Probably is.
We probably don't want to hear it.
That's probably true too. I am a firm believer that every day is a gift. There is a real sense in which those of us who have survived near-death experiences are a silent witness to God's grace and the skill of modern medicine and highly trained and caring personnel like LifeFlight Eagle.
Okay, your crew is off.
sort of motocross track out where you're going. There's some EMTs on scene that called for a helicopter.
I started out as a nurse's aide in an emergency room at Lake of the Ozarks, and I saw the flight crew coming in and performing their miracles as I saw it, and I thought that is exactly what I want to do. I want to be a flight nurse. I spent several years in the emergency room. Then I went to the ICU, had several years ICU experience, got all of the education that I needed, and then I applied for the job. As a flight nurse, you perform autonomously. We are educated, trained, and then we're put out in the field to do our stuff. We have a set of protocols, and now you have to put it to the test.
Do you know what day it is?
We're called because those patients need to be somewhere other than they are. They need to be at a trauma center. They need to be at a center of higher level of care, and we're there to provide that. We're an extension of that facility, of those ground folks, to provide critical care en route to wherever we go. That's the expectation, and that's what we deliver. Hope is what we provide those people when we land on a scene or at a hospital. The hope that their family member or their patient will have a chance to live another day. And we love what we do. We have a passion for it. We show up every day to work hoping to make a difference in somebody's life, and it is just an incredible thing. It's the best job in the world.
Any other transport mechanism, pre-hospital transport mechanism, is either a basic unit, which means that there's 2 EMTs basically, who don't have the ability to do advanced techniques of care, so they can't really give much in the way of medications, they can't intubate, there's a lot of things they can't do. In an advanced system, you'll have an EMT and a paramedic, and the paramedic can do all of those advanced techniques. In our system, we actually have a registered nurse and a paramedic. And you've chosen people who are willing to go out on a limb, and make a judgment and act upon it. This isn't a job for somebody who is hesitant. They're in the middle of nowhere, it can be dark, it can be raining. They have to go on what they feel and what they see and what they think is wrong. That is not a skill that you need as a floor nurse. You need a different set of, you need a different mindset, and you need a different set of physical abilities. There are patients who would not be home with their families today if it wasn't for an EMS agency, in this case, LifeFlight Eagle.
You literally have to convince these people in seconds to trust you with their lives on their worst days of their lives. And we know what to do, we know when to do it, but you got to be brave enough to do it when you need to do it.
I'd worked in critical care for a number of years, and this just kind of gave me an opportunity to kind of expand my role as a nurse. And I just kind of was in the right place at the right time. And it's kind of been a blessing from the beginning. I mean, I can't think of a group of people that, they wear their hearts out there. They want to do what's best. And that's what gives me a boost every day.
CFK 1136.
Eagle 2, I show you en route to the scene 849. You have a vehicle out there, Eagle 2. Eagle 2, good copy.
On May 17, 2004, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Chillicothe resident Alan Brock was on his way home from visiting a friend in the hospital when he learned that your life can change in an instant.
This really didn't sink in about how big a deal this was until I went to a funeral a couple of weeks ago. It just hit me as like, that could have been me.
A driver of a car in oncoming traffic suffers a fatal heart attack, veers left of center, and hits Alan's small truck head-on at highway speeds.
The gentleman had some vehicle trouble, and all of a sudden I was head-on collision with him, and the dash of my truck was in my lap, and legs were broken, knee was broken, foot was broken, and the dash was putting pressure on both of my legs and just had me trapped in the vehicle. So they had to pry me out of there You know, those guys that did that appreciate that, you know, a whole lot, because May 17th at 2 o'clock.
We could have been missing one person in our picture.
Alan Brock ends up taking an extra ride that day that he hadn't planned on, but one that his life would depend on.
Exactly.
It's not real until it happens to your own family, you know? So, I mean, it wasn't his fault, you know, so.
I remember when we pulled into the emergency trauma center, there was that little LifeFlight again that had hauled him there, and they got him there fast, and that was a big part of saving his life and dealing with the injuries that he had, is getting him there so quickly.
It's just a unique calling to be able to do that. I mean, these guys they're just a rare breed, and they see some hard things, and to be able to see some hard things like this and continue to do their job, you know, speaks very well of their training, again, of their calling, of their makeup. You know, life can change in just in a hurry.
Even though LifeFlight Eagle isn't the only aeromedical service in the area, it is still the community's only nonprofit program. LifeFlight Eagle is sponsored by St. Joseph's Health Center, St. Luke's Hospital, and Children's Mercy Hospital, all leaders in Kansas City healthcare and all nonprofit organizations.
LifeFlight Eagle, this is Kevin.
When a call comes into LifeFlight Eagle dispatch, communications specialists have at the ready a sophisticated mapping system that allows pilots to have GPS-guided pinpoint accuracy so they can find nearly any location within the 150-mile service radius, a critical feature when seconds count.
In our dispatch center, we have some sophisticated equipment that we use. At the time the call comes in, we get them dispatched and launched within 5 minutes. We can narrow it down to as close as 50 feet to the scene, the location that we're going, and get our pilots there to an exact GPS location. This job is the first job that I can say I'm glad to go to. I enjoy going in, I work nights, I enjoy going in the evenings. It is satisfying knowing that you are part of a team that's, you know, an elite team that's helping people.
In order to keep its helicopters in perfect working order 24 hours a day,